Yo, how we doing? Show 428. Take a seat, good girl. 428. Today we're going to be looking at work obligations absolutely destroying you. Work obligations destroying you. So if you are struggling with work obligations, this is definitely going to be something that I think is going to benefit you in terms of some personal development. Let me just get my notes up. In terms of personal development, okay. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive Show. I'm your host, James Boardman. And if you are coming through, then please do let me know that you're coming through. And in the comments, what I want you to do is discuss or just put down what the works like just getting on top of you and why. Like, why is work getting on top of you? Okay, why is work getting on top of you? What obligations to that job have you got right now that's kind of like destroying your personal development, your life? So what we got going on here, if you look at the copy or the write-up on this post, you can see a high performance guide for some of you, and there's some curriculum in there on performing and showing up at a high level, and the last one was about career success in a high performance environment. Okay, sounds really Gucci, doesn't it? So career success, life success, finding the balance. It's tough, right? It's tough, like for anybody. Like, I think for entrepreneurs, when you run your own show, you are solely in charge of the paycheck that comes through your bank account. For those that are in a career, and for those men that are ambitious, you're torn between wanting to do really, really well, but wanting to have a good personal life as well. So we're trying to find the balance, okay? We're trying to find a balance of freeing our mind of the obligations when we finish work. So that's a real problem. So when we go into work, it's quite intense, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And then when we come home, we carry that, don't we? Okay. We carry that. And one of the things that I really want to emphasize when we do this, and I do this little chat here, is that in no way, shape or form, am I telling you not to work. I'm not telling you not to work, because you have to work. There is no two ways about it. But what you can do is that you can manage and control your time, your energy, your balance, your structures, your routines, and your systems, so that you can, yes, go off to work and you can do your thing with work, and you can accept that you're going to be under pressure, that you're going to be working really hard to get to the place that you want to get to. But you can then still do all the other things, like take care of your health, okay? Like nurture your relationships, nurture your marriage, nurture your relationships with your children, manage your phone, okay? You can still do all those things in and around that. And for those lads that work with me, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? So let's have a look. There's a couple I've put 4 key things here, okay? 4 key ways that obligations to your work pretty much destroy you, okay? So the first one becomes overworking. The obligation to work often leads to excessive work hours, resulting in physical and mental exhaustion. This can lead to burnout, decreased productivity, and increased stress levels, ultimately impacting overall well-being. So what we're basically saying there when I write that, and by the way, that might be a snippet out of my 3rd book, when we're writing that, and when we're talking about that, we're talking about an 80-20 split. All right. So if you're going through any of this and you're kind of listening right now and you kind of go, man, I recognize that 80-20 split. So 80% of your physical, mental and emotional energy is put into work or your business. Okay, so what that means is that we're going to work where there's demands, there's pressure, there's stress, and we're carrying that with us as well. It's like a little handbag, right? We're leaving work and it's coming with us. We're not productive because we're not structured. We're burnt out because there are no barriers. Okay? And the biggest thing is the levels of awareness about what is happening there with that professional work life, right? Who recognises that? Who feels like, man, I'm not productive? Who feels like they are burning out? Who feels like they are exhausted mentally, emotionally and physically from work? 100%. 100%. That's why it is important that we are managing our personal development, right? That's why we are managing, because when we work on ourselves, when we take that to the next level, we recognise that we're overworking. We recognise we're burning out. We're recognising that we're not productive. Now, many men will always come to me and go, I can't do this course because I'm too busy with work. That is the time to work on yourself, right? That is the time to work on yourself. There's no two ways about it in my mind. If you are going to manage this work obligation, you've got to go in and do your 8 hours, your 10 hours, whatever it's going to be, whatever your shift is, and you're going to be an elite operator in that business. You're going to be structured. You're going to have productivity tips and skills. So you're going to go in and go, right, the first hour and a half, I'm going to focus on my priority. I'm going to take a break. And then I'm going to focus on my second priority. Then I'm going to take a break. Boom, boom, boom. So we've got to make sure that we're going through that process, okay? Okay, lack of work-life balance. The constant pressure to fulfill work obligations can hinder personal relationships, limit leisure time, and prevent individuals from engaging in activities that promote relaxation and self-care. The imbalance can contribute to feelings of dissatisfaction and decline in mental health. The number of conversations over the last 5 years that I've had with men where their marriage has separated, i.e. the wife has turned around and gone, I'm sick of not being paid attention, I'm sick of sitting on the sofa and I'm watching you on your phone working or with your laptop on your lap working. The disconnect that comes with overworking and your obligation and with your mind being 80% focused on work or the business, your wife is not going to put up with that forever, or you're going to have a relationship that is hollow and flat and you're going to be disconnected. And all the kids want you to do is put them to bed. They want you to read them a story. They want you to play wrestling in the garden. They want you to go and play football down the park. But the problem is you're so consumed because everything to do with work is inside of your head. Like all you're thinking about is work, work, work. Do you know? Does that make sense to everyone? If it does, you can just hit the blue thumb button. If you don't want to comment, that's cool. I get it. Okay, so this next one for me is rife. Okay, it is rife, and it is the leader for me, probably to people being overweight. Neglecting physical health. The obligation to work can lead to sedentary lifestyle, often involving long hours sitting at a desk or in front of a computer, neglecting physical exercise, eating healthy, and increased risk of chronic illnesses and decreased energy levels. Basically, what I'm saying there, in a formatted way, is that because your 80% is focused on work obligations, the asset, i.e. you, the body, the heart, your organs, your brain, is not getting the treatment that it deserves. If you have an asset, you take care of that asset. So your assets might be a house, might be a car, might be yourself. But unless you take care of those things, they're going to decrease. Okay? It's going to decrease the value of your asset. It's going to decrease the functioning of that asset. Does that make sense? So if you're not taking care of you, then you're going to slowly start to feel pretty awful. You're not going to have the energy levels to sustain such a high-performing mentality. Okay? If we're going to have a high-performing mentality, then we've got to have a high-performing habits, structures and routines that allow us to spend at least, minimum requirement, 1 hour a week on your physical health. 1 hour. 3 20-minute sessions a week for the rest of your life will make a difference. I don't believe that anybody doesn't have 1 hour to work on themselves. Make sense? Tell me if you don't have 1 hour to work on yourself. Okay, limited personal growth. The constant focus on work obligations can prevent individuals from exploring other areas of interest or pursuing personal goals. This lack of personal growth and self-fulfillment can contribute to feelings of stagnation and dissatisfaction, negatively impacting overall habit. Men and women both need to feel progression. We need to feel like we are progressing in life. If we don't feel like we're progressing, we sink into a negative state. What happens when we slip into that negative state? You become depressed, you become anxious, you become low moods. Your self-limiting beliefs squeeze in again into your brain. And you stop moving and you sit in the mud and you feel sorry for yourself. So we've got to be able to do this. And I was talking to the guys that we coach. And I was talking about setting these little blocks. So little time blocks a day. 15 minutes, by the way. 15 minutes per block. And that's where you dedicate 15 minutes a day to personal development. Whether it's learning about self-mastery, okay? Whether it's about learning time management. Whether it's managing your time and energy about where it's going to go. Whether it's improving yourself as a parent, whether it's watching a video on self-limiting beliefs, whether it's watching this video here. But 15 minutes a day, every single day, is enough time to be able to consume, build and learn to grow. And that's what we do from infants, right? When we go to nursery, we start learning there. We then go to junior school, we then go to secondary school, we then go to college, and we educate ourselves for the first 18 years of our life. Some will go on to uni and spend another 4 or 5 years at university. But what about the rest of your life? When you stop learning, when you stop going through a curriculum, you stay the same, and men and women become frustrated at staying the same. It makes them feel anxious. It makes them feel like they're living in a chaos, right? Education, self-education, educating yourself, like we did all the way through those first 18 years, is key to your skill set, to showing up as a high performer. So finding 15 minutes a day, you could find 15 minutes a day taking a dump. Most of you spend 15 minutes a day on the toilet. So why not have a course, watch a video, develop yourself somehow. That's how I learned French on Duolingo. 15 minutes a day. Boom, 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 boom. Do you know what I mean? Using your time wisely. But really, the point of this video is to make you aware. I just want you to stop and think, is work going to consistently consume me for the rest of my life, or am I going to build structures, routines and systems around work to ensure that I am performing at a high level? And you can do it. Doesn't matter whatever you're telling yourself, you can do it. Change the narrative, change the story, change the outcome. Alright amigos, I will see you on Friday, 5:30. I think we're looking at showing up when we're facing adversity. I want you to, in the comments, write down what your biggest takeaway was of today's show. See you soon.